At some point, each one of us feels life spinning out of control. It could be a lost job, a broken relationship, or just the chaotic pace of daily routines. These moments leave us feeling helpless and overwhelmed. But what if I told you there's a way not just to survive these challenges, but to thrive amidst them? Today, we'll delve into the wisdom of Seneca, an ancient philosopher who mastered the art of maintaining peace in a tumultuous world. Seneca's teachings on Stoicism aren't mere philosophical musings. They are practical strategies that have guided leaders, thinkers, and individuals through the ages, and can empower us today. By the end of this video, you'll have a toolkit of Stoic principles to help you cultivate mental toughness and reclaim control over your emotions and reactions, whatever life throws your way. Stick with me, and let's explore how these ancient secrets can be applied to modern life for a calmer, more centered existence. If you appreciate our content and want to support the channel, please hit the subscribe button. It helps us keep bringing content like this to you. Also, don't skip any part of the video. If you're here, you're different from the majority. You see the value in diving deep, so consider yourself an exception. Number 1. Focus on one activity at a time. Seneca's wisdom, to be everywhere is to be nowhere, captures a crucial principle often overlooked in our modern rush to do more and be more. The idea of focusing on one activity at a time is central to Stoic philosophy and can transform how we approach daily tasks. In a world that celebrates multitasking, we need to pause and reconsider its effectiveness. When we multitask, we spread our attention thin, leading to increased mistakes and decreased work quality. Marcus Aurelius, another revered Stoic philosopher, echoed this sentiment. Concentrate every minute like a Roman, like a man, on doing what's in front of you with precise and genuine seriousness, tenderly, willingly, with justice, and on freeing yourself from all other distractions. This focus is not just about productivity but about cultivating a quality of mind that values depth over breadth. Focusing on one activity at a time allows us to immerse ourselves fully, whether it's a professional assignment, a personal project, or a meaningful conversation. This deep work fosters a greater sense of accomplishment and satisfaction. Plato might argue that this singular focus helps us access a higher form of beauty and truth in our work, allowing us to give our best effort and create something that resonates with goodness and excellence. The psychological benefits of focusing on one task are significant. It reduces cognitive load, minimizes stress, and enhances decision-making. Aristotle, who valued developing virtues through habitual right action, would likely support this practice as a way to develop temperance or self-control, helping us regulate our desire for distraction and immediate gratification. Practicing this focused approach aligns us with the teachings of modern psychology, which suggests our brains are not wired to handle multiple complex tasks simultaneously. The quality of our work and life improves when we give our full attention to one thing at a time. Socrates' method of deep inquiry and dialogue, focusing intensely on one subject, exemplifies the power of this method. Embracing this Stoic principle doesn't just make us more productive, it makes us more thoughtful, peaceful, and balanced. It rejects the chaos of modern multitasking and embraces a deliberate and purposeful mode of being. As we practice this, we find that not only do our results improve, but so does our overall well-being. Practice philosophy to control your impulses. Seneca's insight, "All the greatest torments are the result of an undisciplined mind," reveals a profound truth about human nature. Our unchecked impulses can cause immense emotional turmoil and suffering. Stoicism, emphasizing self-control and rational thinking, provides a framework to address this challenge, rather than suppressing our emotions. Stoicism teaches us to understand and manage them. Managing our impulses begins with self-awareness. Epictetus, another Stoic philosopher, famously said, "No man is free who is not master of himself." This statement highlights the necessity of self-mastery in achieving true freedom and happiness. By becoming more aware of our impulses and the triggers that set them off, we handle them rationally. This doesn't mean denying our feelings, but understanding them deeply enough to respond in ways that align with our long-term goals and values. In philosophy, Aristotle spoke about moderating our impulses through developing virtues. He believed virtue lies in finding the balance between excess and deficiency, known as the golden mean. Courage, for instance, is the mean between recklessness and cowardice. Applying this to impulse control, we seek a balance between spontaneous reactions and complete inaction, aiming for thoughtful, deliberate responses that reflect our best selves. Practicing philosophy as a guide to controlling impulses involves cultivating rational thought as a habit. Marcus Aurelius, in his Meditations, often reflected on aligning thoughts with rational and virtuous principles. He wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." This perspective encourages focusing on our internal responses rather than external provocations, gaining greater control over our impulses. Critically examining our impulses with philosophical wisdom helps us make choices not dictated by fleeting emotions, but by careful thought and reflection. This practice strengthens our mental fortitude and helps us live harmoniously with our values. It leads to a life where decisions are made not in the heat of the moment, but with a clear, composed mind. The Stoic approach to impulse control is about cultivating an inner dialogue that constantly questions and assesses our instinctive reactions. It's about making philosophy not just a subject we study, but a way we live our lives, rising above immediate gratifications to achieve a deeper sense of satisfaction and purpose. This disciplined approach to managing impulses is not just about avoiding emotional pain. It's about forging a path to a more thoughtful, fulfilling life. Stay prepared. Seneca's advice. Rehearse them in your mind. Exile, torture, war, shipwreck might sound dramatic, but it embodies the concept of mental preparation for life's inevitable challenges, a cornerstone of Stoic resilience. Stoicism teaches us to anticipate and mentally rehearse the worst, not to fill us with dread, but to diminish the shock and pain when difficulties occur. This practice, known as premeditatio malorum, is about visualizing challenging scenarios, not to worry obsessively, but to be emotionally and mentally equipped when life throws its curveballs. Think of it like athletes practicing under tough conditions to prepare for competition. By mentally rehearsing challenging situations, we train our minds to handle stress and adversity with less panic and more poise. This Stoic practice helps us appreciate our current state, realizing how much worse things could be makes everyday problems seem less overwhelming. Applying this Stoicism doesn't mean living in constant anxiety about potential problems, but having a realistic acknowledgement of possible negative outcomes. For instance, if you're worried about job security, instead of spiraling into fear, prepare by updating your resume, enhancing your skills, or exploring alternate career paths. This way, if the worst happens, you're not caught off guard and are better positioned to handle the situation. This principle extends beyond personal crises. It's about maintaining readiness for significant changes in our lives, from financial instability to personal loss. Staying prepared shields us from initial shock and quickens our recovery and adjustment periods. We become less reactive and more responsive, a subtle but powerful shift in handling life's uncertainties. Seneca's counsel helps forge a mindset where we're not overwhelmed by adversity, but fortified against it. This mental readiness isn't about expecting the worst, but being prepared to deal with any situation, enhancing our resilience and overall mental toughness. Through this Stoic lens, we see not just potential loss or hardship, but also the opportunity for growth and renewal in every challenge. Voluntarily embrace hardships. Seneca's insight, "Difficulties strengthen the mind as labor does the body," speaks to a practice that can seem counterintuitive at first, voluntarily embracing hardships. This means deliberately choosing discomfort, not as punishment, but to fortify our mental resilience and expand our capacity to handle life's inevitable challenges. Think of an athlete training under harsh conditions to prepare for competition. By pushing limits in a controlled environment, they're better prepared for the actual event's stresses. Similarly, choosing to face difficulties head-on, whether it's a challenging work project, public speaking, or living more simply, enhances our mental toughness and adaptability. Seneca's approach teaches that stepping out of our comfort zones on purpose tests and expands our limits. For example, if you dread public speaking, regularly putting yourself in situations where you must speak in front of others can transform fear into a skill. Over time, what once felt insurmountable becomes manageable and eventually comfortable. This Stoic practice isn't about seeking suffering for its own sake, but recognizing that growth often comes from discomfort. Embracing voluntary hardships resets our comfort thresholds. In a world prioritizing comfort and ease, choosing the harder path can seem radical. But Stoicism invites us to rethink true comfort. Is it merely the absence of discomfort or the presence of inner strength and peace? Knowing we can handle whatever comes our way? Integrating this Stoic principle into our lives helps us appreciate our current circumstances more. When we know we can endure less, we enjoy life's simple pleasures with greater contentment. It's about building a life not on avoiding hardship, but on resilience. This doesn't mean seeking suffering, but viewing hardship as an opportunity to practice Stoic skills. Embracing voluntary hardships fosters self-efficacy, proving to ourselves we can overcome obstacles, building self-confidence. Each challenge we face and overcome reminds us we're stronger than we might have believed. So, let's challenge ourselves to step into the arena of voluntary hardship. There, we'll find not just challenges, but keys to a more resilient and fulfilling life. Avoid self-victimization. Seneca wisely noted, "We suffer more often in imagination than in reality." This statement reminds us that our mental landscape often shapes our experiences more than external events do. Stoicism teaches that while we cannot always control what happens to us, we can control how we respond. This includes avoiding the trap of self-victimization. Self-victimization occurs when we view ourselves as perpetual victims of circumstances, attributing our struggles and failures solely to external factors. This mindset undermines our agency and resilience, leading to feelings of helplessness and resentment. Stoic philosophy encourages a shift from this mentality by emphasizing personal responsibility and the power of our perceptions. For example, imagine you're facing a tough situation at work, like being passed over for a promotion. The victim mindset might focus on unfairness, fostering anger and resentment. However, a Stoic approach would shift the focus to what you can control, your response and actions, reflecting on your performance, seeking feedback, and improving your skills are within your power and can lead to future success. This principle doesn't mean ignoring injustices, but recognizing our power to respond constructively. Epictetus, another Stoic philosopher, said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." By taking responsibility for our reactions, we regain a sense of control and empowerment. This shift from self-victimization to agency aligns with modern psychological practices emphasizing resilience and proactive coping strategies. By focusing on what we can change, we foster a growth mindset and improve our mental health and overall well-being. Stoicism teaches us to interpret events through a lens of strength and possibility. When we avoid self-victimization, we stop defining ourselves by our hardships and start seeing ourselves as capable of overcoming them. This perspective doesn't deny pain or difficulty, but refuses to be defined by them. It's about reclaiming our narrative and steering it toward growth and resilience. So, let's embrace Seneca's wisdom and remember that while we cannot control all that happens to us, we can choose our response. This choice is where our true power lies.